Some European cars may look unassuming, but under the hood, they pack a punch that can embarrass even the toughest American muscle cars. These are sleeper cars, the hidden beasts of the road. They fly under the radar with their plain looks, but when the time comes, they unleash jaw-dropping speed and power, leaving muscle cars struggling to keep up. Starting with 10, Audi RS4 Avant B7. At first glance, the Audi RS4 Avant B7 looks like a regular station wagon, something a family might use for grocery runs or school drop-offs. But don't let its practical design fool you. Under the hood, this unassuming wagon hides a beastly 4.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, the same kind of high-revving power plant you would expect in a sports car. With 420 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque, this thing was built to embarrass American muscle cars at stoplights. What makes the RS4 Avant B7 even more deadly is its quattro all-wheel drive system. While muscle cars often struggle for traction, spinning their rear tires in a cloud of smoke, the RS4 grips the road and launches forward with no hesitation. This gives it an incredible 0 to 60 miles per hour time of just 4.2 seconds, which was shockingly fast for a wagon back in the mid-2000s. Many muscle cars of that era, like the Ford Mustang GT or Dodge Charger RT, couldn't keep up. Another advantage is the 6-speed manual transmission. While most American muscle cars relied on old-school, clunky automatics, the RS4 gave drivers full control of its high-revving V8, capable of screaming all the way up to an 8,250 RPM redline. It didn't just go fast, it sounded amazing doing it. And unlike muscle cars, which often struggled in corners, the RS4 Avant B7 was built for handling. With a finely tuned suspension, precise steering, and Audi's motorsport expertise, this wagon could carve up back roads and racetracks like a true sports car. Muscle cars may have had straight-line speed, but the RS4 could outgun them in almost any situation. While American muscle focused on brute force, this German wagon proved that sophistication and engineering could be just as deadly. 9 BMW M5 E39. The BMW M5 E39 looks like any other business-class sedan. Clean, simple, and built for comfort. But underneath that subtle exterior is a machine that could humiliate American muscle cars without breaking a sweat. Powering this sleeper was a 4.9-liter naturally aspirated V8, delivering 394 horsepower and 369 pound-feet of torque straight to the rear wheels. In the late 90s and early 2000s, this was a serious power figure, especially for a four-door sedan. It could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.8 seconds, making it as quick as a Chevrolet Camaro SS or a Ford Mustang Cobra of the same era. But the M5 E39 didn't just rely on power. It was built for precision. While American muscle cars were often focused on straight-line speed, the M5 was a different beast. With a 6-speed manual transmission, perfectly balanced chassis, and advanced suspension tuning, this car could take corners with the grace of a sports car. Muscle cars might have been quick in a straight line, but throw in a few twists and turns, and the M5 would leave them struggling to keep up. Another secret weapon is its German engineering. While muscle cars of the time often had rough interiors and outdated technology, the M5 felt refined and high-tech. It was the kind of car that could dominate a drag race on Friday night, then comfortably cruise to the office on Monday morning. And let's not forget the sound. That S62 V8 wasn't just powerful. It had a deep, aggressive roar that could rival any American V8. But unlike muscle cars that screamed for attention, the M5 kept things subtle. No massive wings, no flashy decals. Just a clean, professional look that hid its true potential. In the world of sleepers, the BMW M5 E39 was a silent assassin. It didn't look like a threat, but once you put your foot down, it had no problem leaving American muscle cars in its dust. 8. Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG W211. The Mercedes-Benz E55 AMG W211 looks like it was built for quiet highway cruising. But hiding under its sleek, business-like exterior is a monster capable of embarrassing American muscle cars with ease. Under the hood sits a 5.4-liter supercharged V8, pushing out a brutal 469 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. This wasn't just a powerful sedan, it was a rocket ship in disguise. Thanks to its insane torque, the E55 AMG could launch from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 4.1 seconds, making it faster than most Mustangs, Camaros, and even Corvettes of the time. But what made the E55 AMG even more dangerous was how effortless it made speed feel. While American muscle cars were loud, aggressive, and always looked ready for a race, the E55 kept things low-key. It had no flashy wings, no wild graphics, just a clean, understated design that blended into traffic. But the moment you put your foot down, that massive V8 unleashed pure fury, pinning you to your seat as it devoured the road ahead. Unlike muscle cars, which often struggled with traction, the E55 AMG had a refined chassis and an advanced 5-speed automatic transmission, sending all that power smoothly to the rear wheels. This meant that while muscle cars were spinning their tires, the E55 was already gone. And let's not forget the luxury factor. While muscle cars of the early 2000s often had cheap plastic interiors, the E55 wrapped you in leather, wood trim, and cutting-edge technology. It was a car that could destroy a Mustang in a drag race and then take you home in first-class comfort. 7. Seat Leon Cupra R. The seat, Leon Cupra R, looks like just another European hatchback. Small, practical, and nothing too special. But there is more to what meets the eye. Powering the Leon Cupra R was a 1.8-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, producing 225 horsepower and 207 pound-feet of torque. That might not sound like much compared to big American V8s, but thanks to its lightweight chassis and sharp handling, this car could punch way above its weight. With a 0 to 60 mile per hour time of just 6.2 seconds, it was quicker than many V6-powered Mustangs and Camaros of the early 2000s. And in real-world driving, it could embarrass even more powerful cars. The secret to the Cupra R's muscle-killing abilities wasn't just straight-line speed, it was agility. While muscle cars of the time were heavy and built for drag racing, the Cupra R was light, nimble, and made for the corners. It had a stiff suspension setup, precise steering, and an advanced front-wheel drive system that made it deadly on twisty roads. Throw it into a curve, and it would grip hard while muscle cars struggled to keep up. Another advantage is its turbo power. While naturally aspirated muscle cars needed big displacement for speed, the Cupra R's turbocharged engine delivered instant torque and fast acceleration, making it feel far quicker than its numbers suggested. And with a 6-speed manual transmission, it gave drivers full control to squeeze every bit of performance out of its turbocharged motor. However, people rarely notices the best part. Unlike loud, aggressive muscle cars, the Leon Cupra R looked subtle, almost too normal. It had a clean design with a few sporty touches, but nothing that screamed race car. That made it the perfect sleeper. Just a simple hatchback that could leave American muscle struggling to keep up. 6th Volkswagen Golf R32 Mark IV Dash. This is the kind of car that makes gearheads grin the moment they hear its name. The secret is a 3.2-liter, naturally aspirated VR6 engine, delivering 240 horsepower and 236 pound-feet of torque. That might not seem like much compared to big V8-powered muscle cars, but thanks to its all-wheel drive system and 6-speed manual transmission, the R32 could rocket from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.4 seconds. And because of its incredible traction, it could launch off the line much faster than many rear-wheel drive muscle cars, especially on less than perfect roads. But straight-line speed wasn't the R32's only weapon. It was also a master of handling. While muscle cars of the early 2000s struggled in corners due to their heavy frames and basic suspension setups, the Golf R32 was nimble, planted, and built for precision. With a lowered sport suspension, wider stance, and improved aerodynamics, it could tear through twisty roads and tight turns without breaking a sweat. And then there was the sound, one of the best parts of the R32. The deep, throaty growl of the VR6 engine made it sound far bigger and more aggressive than it looked. Muscle cars had their loud V8s, but the R32 had a unique roar that made it just as exciting to drive. What made the Golf R32 Mark IV even deadlier was its sleeper status. Unlike flashy muscle cars with bulging hoods and aggressive styling, the R32 looked almost like a regular Golf, just a little sportier. Most people didn't expect it to be quick, making it the perfect car to surprise unsuspecting challengers at a stoplight or on a winding road. Only about 12,000 units were made worldwide, making the MK4 R32 a rare gem today. It was also the first production car to feature a DSG dual-clutch transmission, making it a next-generation masterpiece for performance cars. Ainda Mardi, yes, R5. This is the perfect mix of luxury, performance, and everyday usability. It is a well-built German cruiser made for long highway drives. But hiding beneath its refined exterior is a powerhouse that could leave American muscle cars gasping for air. The secret weapon is a 4.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, producing 340 horsepower and 310 pound-feet of torque. While muscle cars relied on brute force from big displacement engines, the S6 packed high-revving precision engineering that delivered power smoothly and relentlessly. With a 0 to 60 mile/hour time of just 5.7 seconds, it was quicker than many V8-powered Mustangs and Camaros of its era, despite being a full-size sedan. But what truly made the S6 C5 deadly was Audi's legendary Quattro all-wheel drive system. While American muscle cars often struggled for traction, especially in anything less than perfect conditions, the S6 put its power to the ground effortlessly. Whether launching from a stoplight, carving through corners, or driving in the rain, it had unmatched grip and stability. A Mustang or Camaro could burn rubber at a red light, but the S6 would simply hook up and launch forward without hesitation. And it wasn't just fast, it handled shockingly well for its size. Thanks to a sport-tuned suspension, precise steering, and Audi's racing heritage, the S6 could take on twisty roads with surprising agility. While muscle cars of the time were often built for straight-line speed, the S6 offered a balanced mix of power, handling, and comfort that made it a true sleeper. Inside, it was pure luxury. Leather seats, high-tech features, and a premium feel that American muscle cars couldn't match. It was a car that could dominate a race and then take you home in comfort, making it one of the most underrated performance sedans of its time. While muscle cars focused on noise and aggression, this German machine quietly went about its business and silently dominated. So if you want something that sounds amazing, drives beautifully, and still looks classy, this might be one of the best choices out there. Czwarty Volvo S60 R. When you think of Volvo, you probably picture safe, practical, and sensible cars. But in the early 2000s, Volvo decided to shake things up and created a true performance sedan that could go head-to-head with BMW and Audi. This is a turbocharged monster packed with a 2.5-liter 5-cylinder engine, pushing out 300 horsepower and 295 pound-feet of torque. That might not sound like much compared to big American V8s, but with all-wheel drive and a 6-speed manual transmission, this Volvo could launch from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 5.4 seconds, quick enough to hang with Mustangs and Camaros of the time. And because of its turbo, it delivered massive torque across the rev range, giving it strong acceleration in any gear. But what really made the S60R dangerous was its advanced suspension system. Volvo gave it a cutting-edge 4C suspension, which adjusted the dampers in real time for unmatched handling and ride comfort. While muscle cars of the early 2000s struggled in corners, the S60R gripped the road like a true sports sedan. On a twisty back road, it could easily outmaneuver heavier, rear-wheel drive muscle cars leaving them struggling to keep up. And let's not forget the sleeper factor. This wasn't a flashy car. It looked almost identical to a regular Volvo S60, except for subtle R badging, slightly larger wheels, and quad exhaust tips. No wild wings, no loud graphics. Just a quiet, serious-looking sedan that happened to be packing serious firepower. Most people wouldn't suspect it was fast until it left them in the dust. Inside, it was pure Scandinavian luxury. High-quality materials, supportive bucket seats, and a futuristic gauge cluster that changed colors depending on driving mode. It wasn't just fast. It was a refined, high-tech machine that could do it all. Power meant nothing without control, and Volvo made sure the S60 R handled like a dream. It came with Haldex all-wheel drive, giving it plenty of grip in all weather conditions. Whether you were carving up a twisty mountain road or just dealing with a rainy highway commute, the S60 R stayed planted and confident. The S60 R was Volvo's attempt to take on the Germans, and while it didn't sell in huge numbers, it became a cult classic. 3. Alfa Romeo 156 GTA-. The Alfa Romeo 156. GTA is what happens when Italian passion meets pure driving excitement. Under the hood, the 156 GTA packed a 3.2-liter, naturally aspirated V6, producing 250 horsepower and 221 pound-feet of torque. That might not seem like much compared to the big V8s and Mustangs and Camaros of the early 2000s, but the secret was in the lightweight design and razor-sharp handling. The 156 GTA could hit 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 6.3 seconds, and in real-world driving, it felt even faster thanks to its lightweight chassis and quick throttle response. But straight-line speed wasn't what made the 156 GTA a muscle car killer. It was its handling and agility. While American muscle cars of the time were often built for straight roads, the Alfa thrived in the corners. With precise steering, a stiff suspension setup, and a limited slip differential, this car could carve up winding roads and racetracks like a proper sports car. Muscle cars could pull ahead on a straight, but the moment the road twisted, the 156 GTA would leave them struggling to keep up. And then there was the sound, one of the best-sounding V6 engines ever made. The Busso V6 in the 156 GTA delivered a deep, exotic roar that could turn heads even before it left muscle cars behind. It had a character that American V8s simply couldn't match. What made it even deadlier is the sleeper factor. While it had some sporty touches like wider fenders and aggressive wheels, the 156 GTA still looked like a stylish European sedan, not an outright performance machine. That meant most people had no idea what it was capable of until it was too late. Alfa Romeo didn't make many 156 GTAs, which makes them rare and highly sought after today. It was never the most practical or the easiest car to live with, but that's not the point. The 156 GTA was built for people who love to drive, for those who want to feel the road, hear the engine sing, and experience the thrill of an Alfa Romeo at full speed. Second, Porsche 944 Turbo Dash. The Porsche 944 Turbo is one of those cars that people underestimated when it was new, but today it's recognized as one of the greatest driver's cars of its era. It took Porsche's front-engine formula and turned it into a turbocharged beast, offering serious speed, razor-sharp handling, and a driving experience that still feels incredible today. And make no mistake, this thing was a muscle car destroyer in disguise. Under it was a 2.5-liter turbocharged inline-4, producing 247 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque in its later versions. Now, that might not sound like much compared to the V8 beasts coming out of America in the 80s and early 90s, but the 944 Turbo had a secret weapon: weight and balance. Thanks to its front-engine rear transaxle design, it had near-perfect 50-50 weight distribution, giving it razor-sharp handling that muscle cars simply couldn't match. With a 0 to 60 mile/hour time of just 5.5 seconds, the 944 Turbo was quicker than many Mustangs, Camaros, and Corvettes of the time. But the real fun started when the road got twisty. While muscle cars struggled with their heavy frames and old-school suspension setups, the the 944 Turbo could carve corners like a precision instrument. It was light, nimble, and had serious grip, making it a nightmare for muscle cars that relied on raw power alone. And let's not forget the boost factor. That K26 turbocharger gave the 944 Turbo a serious mid-range punch, meaning that once the turbo spooled up, it pulled like a much bigger engine. While American V8s needed big displacement for power, the Porsche used smart engineering and turbocharging to deliver serious performance. Unlike flashy Porsches like the 911 Turbo, the 944 Turbo looked clean and understated, making it a true sleeper. This Porsche was the ultimate underdog, lightweight, turbocharged, and built to handle anything the road threw at it. Today, it's a modern classic that remains an absolute blast to drive. First, Peugeot 306 GTI-6-. The Peugeot 306 GTI-6 is one of those underrated hot hatches that true car enthusiasts know and love. It wasn't the most powerful or the flashiest, but what it lacked in hype, it made up for in pure driving joy. This car was powered by a 2.0-liter, naturally aspirated four-cylinder, producing 167 horsepower and 145 pound-feet of torque. That might not sound like much compared to the massive V8s in American muscle cars, but this little Peugeot had two major advantages: weight and agility. Weighing in at just 2,600 pounds, it was incredibly light, which meant it could launch quickly and carry serious speed through corners. The real magic, though, was in its handling. Unlike the heavy rear-wheel drive muscle cars of the late 90s and early 2000s, which struggled in tight bends, the 306 GTI-6 was built for precision. It had sharp, responsive steering, a stiff chassis, and a brilliant suspension setup that gave it incredible grip on twisty roads. On a curvy back road, this little Peugeot could effortlessly outmaneuver much more powerful cars, leaving muscle cars struggling to keep up. Another weapon is the gearbox. The GTI-6 name came from its 6-speed manual transmission, which was rare for a hot hatch at the time. While muscle cars often had long, sluggish gear changes, the 306 GTI-6 had a slick, quick-shifting gearbox that made it feel lively and responsive in every gear. This meant the driver could keep the engine in its sweet spot, maximizing power and acceleration. And the best part was that it looked completely harmless. No huge wings, no aggressive scoops, just a clean, simple design with a few sporty touches. While many hot hatches today focus on turbo power and electronic assists, the Peugeot 306 GTI-6 was all about pure mechanical driving feel. No gimmicks, no distractions, just a perfectly tuned chassis, a responsive engine, and a smile on your face every time you took a corner.